So for podcasters down here, thank you again. I know there was a lot of debate going on. If you go to anchor.fm, and by the way, they did not sponsor the content, they did not sponsor for me to say this. I did my research because my show was previously hosted on Libsyn. And I did like working with Libsyn. They're pretty old school. They're very reliable, however. I moved to Anchor after researching the fact that, yes, you do own your content and it is in their print, in their disclaimer. And also, second thing I will say about Anchor, some of you may be worried about that. I was thinking, okay, it's one of those new services. If they go down, my whole show would disappear. I definitely had that fear 2 years ago. However, Spotify, as of a year ago, acquired Anchor. So from a financial, from stability, and from a marketing standpoint, they're quite solid. And I would say explore. If you truly find the reason you don't love Anchor, you can always switch. And these days, Libsyn, alongside several other hosts, which I do have a slide for actually. There are a lot of hosting services. Their pricing are very competitive and kind of similar to one another. You can't really go wrong with anything that's listed here. You can't really go wrong with the top five. The one thing I would say I don't love about Anchor is I don't really like their audio player on the website. But with that said, you're able to use other audio players, not just the one that's native to Anchor. On that note, I would like to say a few more things about distribution. Now we're on to the subject of Anchor. Some of you asked the question, well, how do I actually share my show and broadcast it somewhere else? Back in the day, 2014, I had to launch a hosting service and then basically, manually add it to Apple. Then I wait for 2 to 3 days, talk to their support, do the same thing for Spotify years later. It's not the case anymore. If you're starting out, you're very lucky. And for example, on Anchor, but also on Libsyn and a bunch of other, I believe some of the other hosting, Blueberry as well, a lot of them, they will automatically distribute your show to the most important platforms. So including Anchor, you have Breaker, Google Podcasts, Apple, Radio Public, Spotify. To me, these definitely hit home. And you can also manually basically share your podcast as well. So those are the things such as, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all those platforms. Next question. What is the estimated cost to launch a decent podcast and then to upgrade to the advanced level as your current one? So let's see. Estimate cost to launch a decent podcast. So I can break down this question a little bit. Obviously, if you're a creator at the beginning, you're probably not getting paid if this is your show, for instance. So you're doing the recording for free. Also, podcasting is widely understood that usually you don't pay for the guests to be on your show. I know there are exceptions, but in general, this production part is cost free. However, at some point, I want to definitely throw some numbers from my own experience. I was editing my show for the first year and a half. I don't regret it. I use Audacity. Very, very easy, very learnable. I do have a course on that as well. The whole thing is just maybe, 6 to 7 videos. Very learnable, but I didn't feel, and I certainly don't feel like it's a good use of my time. So I went to Upwork. For those of you who don't know what that is, Upwork, upwork.com, where you can find freelancers from around the world, not just based in the US. So you can aim to be paying somewhere between $50 to $100 when it's light editing per episode. So if you have 4 episodes a month, you're looking at, $50 times 4, $200. Very, very light editing. Interviews, it's not cutting out every single ums and ahs. It's trimming and balancing the audio a little bit. But if you are a very story-based podcast, that means there are sound effects, they're different, different guests, different pieces of audio. It gets really sophisticated. You're definitely looking at upwards of $100-$200 or even more. So the cost can change drastically. Let's see what else. In terms of hosting service, hosting your show these days, it is really affordable. On Anchor, it's completely free. Guys, I hate to admit this. This is why I love it. If you're not sure if you want to do this in the long run, if you're like, I'm just kind of trying to reduce my cost, even though right now I am a monetized content creator, I'm still thinking about reducing costs where possible. and while I'm having a solid platform. So if you don't want to choose Anchor, which is free, you could go to Blueberry, you can go to Libsyn. The starting package is something usually around $5 to $10, but there's a limitation to how many hundreds of megabytes, megabytes you can upload. So if you're looking 4 episodes a month, then most likely you're gonna pay a fee. And so for usually you're paying about $20 to $40. So something is still affordable, but again, some of these costs do add up.